You know that saying, you can always tell a Texan, but you can't tell him much.
Yeah, that really sets the scene for today, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, because today we're diving into what happens when you get this super organized British record producer
Yeah.
face to face with a legendary rock and roll eccentric, a genius maybe, but one who, let's say, operates on his own schedule.
We're digging into this amazing firsthand account from producer Kenny Denton. It's all about the making of the 1982 album Midnight Sun with the Sir Douglas Quintet, Doug Somm's band.
Right, the SDQ. These guys were pioneers. They had this incredible sound, mixing everything blues, soul, Texas swing, Tex-Mex, a bit of Cajun, and of course that huge 1965 hit, She's About to Move Her.
Yeah, massive hit. So Denton's working for Sonnet Records, this Swedish label, and they send him off to San Francisco. He'd been warned, that Sam could be difficult.
Difficult is maybe putting it mildly.
Probably. But Denton felt confident. He figured, okay, logistics, that's my job. I can handle this.
So our mission today, for you listening, is really a shortcut into Denton's whole wild experience. It's about that clash, raw, kind of chaotic genius hitting up against, well, demanding production realities.
And the thing we really need to grasp is how close this whole project came to just completely falling apart. Like, before they even recorded a single note. Okay, let's set that stage. The logistics. Denton faced this huge challenge right from the start. He had to fly into the U.S. carrying $50,000 in cash.
Cold, hard cash. That was the entire budget for everything. Studio time, hotels, paying the band, the works.
He knew the rules, right? You bring more than 10 grand into the U.S., you absolutely have to declare it. It's standard international law.
But he gets to Seattle, fills out that customs form, and when it asks about carrying over $10,000...
he ticks no, just ticks no. His thinking was, apparently, well, it's business money, it's for the record label, it's not mine, so maybe it doesn't count. Kind of naive, maybe.
Or just hoping to avoid hassle, perhaps. So it's his turn at the desk. The customs officer asks those standard 3 questions. You got fruit, been on a farm, carrying over 10 grand in cash.
And Denton says, no, 3 lies. But the officer, she doesn't even blink, just asks him to open his briefcase.
And boom.
Yeah, within seconds, she pulls out the first pack of cash. $10,000. Then the second pack. 10,000 more. And then all hell breaks loose.
He describes this incredibly loud alarm going off.
The loudest alarm in the building, he said. And suddenly these 2 security guards, who Denton described as terrifying, materialize and escort him off to an interrogation room.
Where they find the other $30,000.
Exactly. So now he's really in trouble. They're talking deportation, maybe even jail time.
And they look at his passport, see all these regular entry stamps from previous work trips, and they put 2 and 2 together. He claimed holiday on the form.
But he's carrying $50,000 meant for work, so the immediate assumption is...
Money laundering.
Yep. He said he spent 3 solid hours being questioned, just relentless. Apparently he had these visions of ending up in a cell sharing it with some guy named Bubba.
You have to wonder about his mindset there. Was he just incredibly naive about customs law? Or did he kind of think being this British producer gave him some sort of pass?
It's hard to say for sure from the account, but either way, it was a huge miscalculation. He ended up having to sort of accept this cover story they cooked up.
Which was?
That he wasn't technically working, just delivering the money for the label, which I guess saved him from prison or being kicked out of the country.
But it wasn't without consequences.
Oh, no, it cost him big time. They find him $5,000 right there on the spot.
$5 grand. That's 10% of his entire recording budget. Just gone. Before he's even met the band or booked the studio properly.
Think about that pressure. It completely changes the game for him, doesn't it? Suddenly it's not just about making a good album.
No. Now he's personally on the hook for recouping this massive loss. He has to make this work, which, you could already see, is going to put him on a collision course with Sam.
Who, as we'll find out, operates with, let's say, 0 concern for budgets or schedules.
So Denton survives customs, minus $5,000, but the chaos doesn't stop there. He finally gets to San Francisco, goes to pick up the rental car he'd pre-booked.
And surprise, surprise, no reservation found.
Of course not. He's completely wiped out by this point. The stress, the jet lag.
He basically just demands the best car they have available, which turns out to be this brand new, bright white Chevrolet Camaro with blacked out windows.
Very subtle, like something out of a bad spy movie.
Right. So he drives this conspicuous muscle car out to Mill Valley, finds the motel where he's supposed to be staying.
Let me guess. No reservation.
Bingo. No reservation, and the place is full. No room at the inn. He said he was just so exhausted and demoralized, he ended up practically begging the receptionist for any kind of room.
Just collapsing somewhere.
Yeah. Eventually they found him something, and he just passed out. And remember, he still hasn't even met the guy he's supposed to be producing. The eccentric genius is yet to come.
Okay, so after, 2 days of just pure logistical nightmare, financial loss, personal humiliation, Denton finally encounters the man himself, Doug Sahm.
Yeah, he runs into him at the motel restaurant, and Sam's look alone was something Denton described him as looking a little like John Lennon wearing a cowboy hat.
Okay, I can picture that.
But it was the way he talked. That was the real shocker. Denton called it an unstoppable tide.
Meaning?
Just incredibly fast, faster than Denton could really process. And the conversation was almost entirely about Doug Sahm himself. And Techbird with all these late 60s counterculture phrases, far out man, and he's a groovy cat, that kind of thing.
Was there anyone normal, anyone to balance that out?
Well, there was Augie Myers, the keyboard player, longtime SDQ member. He was kind of the grounding force, maybe.
Oh, Augie. Didn't he have a thing about flying?
Yeah, exactly. He apparently had this recurring dream about dying in a plane crash, so he refused to fly back then. He just arrived on a Greyhound bus all the way from New York.
Wow, dedication.
Totally. And Augie immediately provides this moment of just perfect, bizarre levity, sets the tone for the whole project, really. He tells Denton this story.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
He stopped at this new snack bar on the way called Aim to Please, and their big gimmick was if you ordered a sandwich and they couldn't make it in 2 minutes, you got $50 cash.
Okay, that's a bold claim for a snack bar. What did Augie order? An elephant sandwich.
Close. He ordered an elephant's ear on rye.
An elephant's ear on rye. Okay, so did he win the $50?
He did. The guy behind the counter comes back after 2 minutes, hands Augie the $50, says sorry.
And Denton's like, why couldn't they make it?
Exactly, and Augie just deadpans, yeah, they were all out of rye.
Oh, that's brilliant. They were out of rye.
Isn't it perfect? It just sums up the kind of surreal, wonderful chaos around this band. Like, normal rules, having ingredients for a sandwich, they just don't apply in Sam's world. Denton's starting to learn, sometimes the rye is just gone.
That's a great metaphor, but okay, the surreal humor probably wore off pretty quick when they actually tried to rehearse, right?
Oh, yeah. That faded fast. They booked a rehearsal studio for 2 days. The band shows up, well, most of them. The drummer, Dougie Clifford, wasn't there yet.
Okay.
And there was, according to Denton, literally nothing to rehearse. They just sat around all day, smoking grass, chatting. Total waste of studio time.
And Denton's probably freaking out about the budget, right, after the fun.
Exactly. And he quickly realizes his role isn't really producer. In their eyes, he's more like a runner, a lackey. At one point, Doug just orders him, go get me a Coke.
Just like that.
Okay. So Denton goes, looks around, can't find a Coke anywhere. The only thing available is Dr. Pepper.
Uh-oh. I can see where this is going.
He brings back the Dr. Pepper, and Sam just explodes, shouting like, what the fuck is this, man? I wanted a Coke.
Wow. Okay, so what does Denton do? Does he go find a Coke?
No. This is actually a key moment. Denton, having already dealt with the customs nightmare and the car fiasco, he just stands his ground. He refuses point blank to run all over town searching for a can of Coke.
Good for him.
Yeah, it seems like a small thing, but it was really crucial. It was Denton's first real successful pushback against Sam, just assuming total control over everything and everyone.
Okay, a small victory, but then he makes a mistake, right? Tries to fit in.
Yeah, a tactical error, you could say. In this, attempt to bond or seem like one of the guys, Denton takes one puff of the wacky-backy that was going around.
Oh, dear. How did that go?
Instant regret. Total panic attack. He said he couldn't feel his arms or legs. His head was spinning like crazy. He apparently just staggered, almost unconsciously, into a dark corner of the room.
Oh, man.
And he's just sitting there marveling that anyone else could even hold a conversation, let alone think about making music. It just kind of reinforced his feeling of being completely out of his depth, the total outsider in Sam's world.
Okay, so the rehearsals are a bust.
Yeah.
What happens next? Does the drummer show up?
Yeah. The next day, Dougie Clifford, the drummer, finally arrives. And he's got cash, too, $5,000 he needs to put somewhere safe.
More cash.
So, Sam volunteers, tells Denton, hey, I'll ride with you, show you a shortcut to the hotel.
A shortcut? Uh-huh. Let me guess. It wasn't a shortcut.
Not exactly. They end up driving into this dead-end cul-de-sac somewhere. Clifford's following them in his truck, right? He jumps out furious, shouting like, what the fuck are we doing here?
And Sam.
Sam just calmly gets out of the car, looks around, and says, well, we are at Fisherman's Wharf. Let's eat.
He deliberately led them there just to get dinner.
Apparently so. It was just a calculated move to get food. And this whole time, Sam's claiming he's still writing the songs for the album, including, ironically, a track called Let's Don't Waste a Minute.
Oh, the irony. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Pure chaos, but kind of genius in its own way.
Okay.
Okay, so they eventually get to the actual recording studio Monday morning.
Yeah. Finally, Monday, they're at different First studios. The gear's set up. Everything looks ready. But
Wow.
everyone, except Denton, is apparently completely stoned again.
Of course. So they try to record.
They manage to lay down a take of something, and Sam and the band are like, yeah, cool, that's great. But Denton listens back and thinks it's terrible. He called it a piece of shit. Sam just wanted to move on to the next thing.
Okay, this is it, right? The big confrontation.
This is the moment of truth. Denton realizes if he doesn't grab the reins right now, this whole expensive project is going down the drain. He has to become the ringmaster, as he put it.
So what did he say?
He told Sam straight up, look, that take, it's not good enough. The band's playing out of time. It's out of tune. And frankly, it sounds like you're playing out of desperation.
Whoa. Okay, that's blunt. How did Sam react?
Sam's reaction was just classic Sam. He goes, man, this is the way we make our music.
And Denton.
Denton just fired right back. Well, you're making it fucking wrong.
Wow, he actually said that.
He did, and he somehow forced Sam, very reluctantly, to agree to do more takes. I mean, that takes some serious professional guts, right? Basically betting his own reputation against this legendary, difficult artist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did things get better after that? Was Sam more cooperative? Well, yeah, not immediately. The whole scheduling thing was still a nightmare. Denton tries to enforce some punctuality. Says, okay, we leave for the studio at 11:30 a.m. sharp tomorrow. And at 11:30.
He goes to Sam's motel room door, knocks. Sam answers, still wearing his long johns underwear.
Size. Of course he is.
So Denton just turns around, starts walking back to his car saying, okay, I'm leaving. And Sam comes out into the hallway still in his long johns, just screaming at him, you crazy English fuck, followed by, apparently, a whole stream of other unrepeatable insults.
Jeez, what did Denton do?
He just kept walking, got to his car and said, I'm leaving for the studio in 2 minutes. Stood his ground.
Did Sam follow?
Eventually, but interestingly, only the guitarist, Louis Ortega, got in the car with Denton right away. Sam and the others trailed behind later.
Okay, but the biggest fight was still about the money, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ultimate control issue. Towards the end of the book studio time, Sam suddenly tries to cancel the last 2 days because he figured out that any money left over from the studio budget would go directly to him into his pocket.
Ah, okay, so he just wanted to cut it short and take the cash.
Exactly. And this led to what Denton called his first ever stand-up argument in a studio with an artist. He described Sam just lighting up this enormous joint during the argument and literally disappearing behind a cloud of smoke while they were yelling at each other.
Unbelievable. How did Denton win that one? This is where that initial cash situation, ironically, gives Denton the leverage. He finally puts his foot down completely. He tells Sam, point blank, I am not handing over any more money until these recordings are finished on Friday. Full stop. And Sam
Suddenly became, in Denton's words, a lot more understanding and reasonable. The hard reality of the finances finally cut through all the chaos and the smoke.
Money talks, huh? But man, Denton must have been at his breaking point before that.
Oh, absolutely. He was really suffering. He actually phoned his boss back in Sweden, Dag Hegvist, and told him this was the toughest gig he'd ever had. He said Sam didn't just need a producer, he needed a gopher who is a psychiatrist.
A gopher who's a psychiatrist. That says it all.
Yeah. He even admitted he was feeling genuinely suicidal at one point. He called his wife Susan and begged her to fly out from the UK immediately just to bring, quote, some sanity to the situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense. So connecting this back, once Denton got that financial control, did the actual music making change? Did the artist finally, emerge?
It seems like it did. Once the power dynamic shifted, the focus could actually turn to the music.
Yeah.
And the way they recorded reflected Sam's whole spontaneous thing. They recorded the band totally live in the studio.
Okay. And Sam's directing style was
It's completely unique and unpredictable. Apparently, he would just be playing, and then suddenly, without any warning, he'd shout a band member's name.
And
That meant, take a solo. Right now. He'd change the order constantly, never the same way twice. It was designed to keep everyone completely on their toes.
that sounds terrifying for a musician.
It probably is, especially if you rely on charts or strict arrangements. But for Sam's kind of music, that blend of Tex-Mex, blues, swing books, It relies on improvisation and that live energy. It forced the musicians to be 100% present, listening intently to each other and to Doug.
Right. Louis Ortega, the guitarist, actually said something about that, didn't he?
Yeah, he confirmed how tricky it was. He said, "The reason I stand so close to Doug when we were recording is so I can see what chords he's going to play next."
Laughs, just watching his hands. That takes incredible focus. And yeah, that raw talent you mentioned. It's not about studio polish. It's about capturing that lightning in a bottle.
Exactly. And speaking of capturing something special, on the very last day, Denton realized he was still one track short for the album.
Oh no, after all that.
Yeah, so Sam just casually suggests, hey, let's do a version of Sugar Bee. An old tune, they just winged it.
Yeah.
And that spontaneous track ended up being Denton's absolute favorite on the whole album.
Wow. And wasn't there a story about Sam singing that one?
Yeah, the imagery Denton provides is amazing. He said, Sam sang the vocal live, right there with the band playing, with the biggest joint I'd ever seen sagging from his lips the entire time.
Chuckles. Seriously.
Seriously. And Denton even noted that the joint actually gave Sam's voice this peculiar kind of nasal sound that just perfectly suited the recording. So the chaos, the habits, they weren't just incidental, they were actively shaping the sound of the final product.
That's incredible. The madness was part of the method. So what was the final outcome? Did the album actually work?
Big time success. Denton flew back to the UK with 11 finished tracks. His boss, Dag, back in Sweden, was apparently just relieved and pleasantly surprised. He'd been worried there wouldn't be any usable material after hearing about the chaos.
And the album itself?
It sold way better than anyone expected. A real success for Sonnet Records and for the band.
So, despite everything the customs disaster, the Dr. Pepper incident, being screamed at in his underwear, the arguments Denton actually agreed to do it again.
He did. They asked him to produce a second album, and he said yes. He said he basically learned how to cope with his strange behavior, which allowed him to finally see past the chaos and really discover the really gifted artist underneath it all.
It's quite a journey.
Yeah. He ended up making 3 albums with the Sir Douglas Quintet in total. He felt the respect grew over time, and he genuinely grew to love and admire Sam, calling him a truly bizarre, complex, amazingly talented character.
It sounds like Denton realized that Sam's management style, let's call it, was maybe inseparable from his music.
I think that's exactly it. The reason Sam's music was so groundbreaking, mixing all those genres, was because he just didn't respect boundaries, not musical ones, not logistical ones, not personal ones. Denton had to learn that the chaos wasn't just noise. It was kind of a direct reflection of that boundary-breaking creativity.
So the big takeaway here is this really sharp contrast, isn't it? You have this extreme chaos, the personal humiliation for Denton, almost reaching insanity, but it leads directly to this critical success, and for Denton, this profound discovery of Sam's talent.
Right. The producer learned that Sam's kind of genius just doesn't play by the normal rules. It needed, like Denton said, that Gopher, who was a psychiatrist. The madness was essential, even if it was incredibly costly along the way.
Which kind of leaves us with a big question, doesn't it, for you listening? How often does that kind of real breakthrough creativity actually require throwing structure out the window? And maybe more importantly, what's the difference between that necessary creative tension and just, well, damaging chaos?